Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
Welcome back indeed. Today, you guys, there's so much Yu-Gi-Oh! To talk about that we decided to bring in a special guest.
We needed some help, y'all.
Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast, Chris, who actually you've been on this podcast like once before, haven't you?
Yeah, I called in one time before, but what's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris here with Teammate.
Yeah, so we thought it would be fun to kind of break down all of the many developments with Chris alongside us, because he's got some opinions to share about the things. Y'all know how it goes.
Because I run away from competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And Paul's a Master Duel player.
Yeah, we need somebody who knows what they're talking about.
I wouldn't call myself competitive, but I know a little bit.
Now, before we get all into that, first of all, drop a like on the premiere and put a 1 in the chat if you are actually listening to this live.
What's up, Premiere
YouTube.
Gang?
And we also have a review, so I figured we should probably start with that. This review comes to us on Apple Podcasts from Bryce Goddard. He says, "You guys have a pod?" ? He gave us 5 stars. He didn't even know. Casual collector of over 20 years here. I've followed and enjoyed you guys' content for years, and I'm so happy to have found this. Working 12s leaves you looking for content on a constant basis, so I'll be downloading each week from now on. Well done.
Woo, 12-hour shifts. Golly.
Yeah, geez. I mean, maybe we can just start making like 12-hour-long podcasts. We just talk all day.
I mean, we could do that. I don't know if anyone would actually want to listen to that, though.
Yeah, I feel like we already go on long enough for this. I actually noticed on this podcast, we've gone, like the very first episode was like 50 minutes or something. And now they just average like 2 hours plus.
Well, so much for being a short podcast.
Yeah. And that's not even, like, there are some podcasts that are like much longer than that even, which is a little insane to me.
I need to take breaks.
I will say, if I could butt in real quick, I will say that is a good number for you guys. Around that 1.5, 2 hour mark. As a listener myself, you got one on the podcast. Now I'm a listener.
Yeah.
Bro, it helps get through the workday. Like, I work from home personally, and I know most of the time whenever this comes out, I just put it on in the background. I continue my work, and it helps a lot. So, shouts out to you guys for making this podcast.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you for being here.
Thank you.
And that's great because we're about to probably talk for a little bit about this new Yu-Gi-Oh! Conversation. I feel like it's not actually a new conversation, but it's the Jessica Robinson video. We got to talk about this. So Jessica Robinson, for those of you guys who don't know, sort of highly acclaimed player.
Top European player.
Yeah, top European player, known for playing, Rika Sun Avalon, known for competing in Worlds last year, winning a few ICS events. Like, she released a video where she announced that she is quitting competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And she cites a few reasons for this. Chief among them being, prize support. She mentions how she went to Worlds, and despite getting top 8 at Worlds, getting into the quarterfinals of Worlds, she walked away with nothing. She was also kind of dissatisfied with, the power spike in the game and card balance, things like that. And she said that until, she sees meaningful change from Konami, she won't be attending any of the upcoming YCS events that are happening this year. And yeah, this video kind of, it blew up. Like, everybody's talking about this. Is top, high profile player quits, or sort of quits, I guess. And also people have already sort of been going on about this prize support thing. There's a lot. There really is a lot.
So where do we start?
Where do we start? I'm all ears. Anyone can do it.
I'll start. I'm the guest today. What I can say about the video is I watched it I want to say when it first came out, and Jessica makes a lot of good points in the video. But I'll start out by saying I honestly hate to see it. To be honest, Jessica's a great player. She gets the job done every time she's at an event, and it's usually with the same deck. It's really consistent. It's really cool to see because it's almost like an anime type thing to me, you know.
Yeah.
Like she's playing that deck and does well with it all the time, and I hate to see someone like that go in this game because the game needs more of that. To be honest with you.
I would also add just that like it's kind of a bad look, not for her, but like for Konami because she's worked with Konami on a lot of like sponsored sort of things. She did like the Duel Links, like Duel Academy video. She's been like featured a lot in like their live streams and other sort of events when they reach out to top players. So props to her for still sort of speaking out and making this decision despite the fact that like you could take the easy way out and be like, oh well, like Konami likes me, so I'm just kind of like grin and bear it and not say anything. But she still did, and also for Konami, I think that doesn't look great. Like this person that you've worked with isn't afraid to say, yeah, this game, for me at least, it's not offering what I want out of it. So
the only thing I have to say about that is I don't think it's as bad as it might seem, because this isn't like American sports where like if LeBron James said he was quitting basketball for like X reasons, people would be concerned. If KD said something like that, people would be concerned. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little different because Konami does not treat our top pro players any better than an average player. You can really, I think Konami might look at it as, well, they can go, and then like 3 more are all going to jump at the chance to be the new them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's what's going to happen. Like, like the more, like, I don't know if y'all want to get into that like right now, but like, I feel that like the pro players leaving ain't really gonna make that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because there's 100 other people behind them that have never topped a YCS or a premier event that are just they're feasting at the opportunity to now because the better players aren't playing anymore. So it's their chance to get their clout off.
Yeah, it's fewer people to be invited to do things with Konami. It's fewer people to top these events. They think that's a win.
So it's
that's a win for them.
Something I was gonna because I think there's like a whole conversation to be had about the prize support thing, and it also gets into like another opinion I have about like what is like a professional player and like what is it worth to be good at something like Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'll start with the prize support thing. Right now, what I'm hearing the most is like, okay, Lorcana and One Piece. Those are the 2 games that come up the most, and like Pokemon also, where it's like, okay, these games give much better prizing for their premier level events. There are serialized, Lorcana cards, serialized One Piece cards, these like event exclusive things that you get when you top or win, and they're worth sometimes like, thousands or whatever of dollars. And meanwhile, Konami, at least the narrative goes, Konami is just giving you another Verse Glutonia, which is like this vanilla prize card that seems not super desirable. It seems like, from what I've heard, that's kind of a tough one to move. You get your rubber mat, you get your old Nintendo Switch. That's the running joke. And it's kind of like you just don't get enough to pay for like even the trip, like reimburse your trip, If a flight out there is maybe, let's say, $300, and then like your hotel might be, a couple $100 for the night you have to stay there, and then like the prizing maybe only gets you back half of that at most. Is it worth it to play at these events, and like what should the prizing look like? What do you guys think would be good prizing for a Yu-Gi-Oh? Like for like winning a YCS or like getting top 4 or top 8?
I
mean, at a bare minimum, we should at least have a current generation console. Golly.
Yeah, I'm very. I think. So, well, not to cut you off on that, but just a real quick thing about the Switch. I think Konami had the right idea, probably. Like, I think in 2018 or something, they probably cut some deal with Nintendo, like B2B, and they were like, yeah, we'll like buy 500 Switches off you guys for some deep discount. And maybe at the time that seemed like a good idea. It just hasn't aged well. Like, it'd be great if it was just PS5, maybe. I think we'd have fewer complaints, but anyway, sorry, continue.
So, I mean, it's even hard to sell an original Switch nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, you basically have to give those bad boys away. So is that really a prize?
Yeah.
You can take them to GameStop. You can take them to GameStop and get your $79.56 in store credit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, do they even take like the original version Switch? Because like I heard Konami's not even giving the OLEDs.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Okay. I heard that sometimes they do give out the OLEDs.
Oh,
I did hear
good.
that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I heard it was really.
But hold on. But sometimes isn't enough. It should be OLED all the time.
I wonder if it's like a matter of like, is it just what's in the warehouse that weekend? Like, I mean, because I mean, it'd be nice if it was consistent, right?
I mean, maybe they just give them away at random.
Or something.
They don't even know the difference. They just put them in a box and ship them out.
Wait, does top 4 get Switches? Is that how it is? Or is it like number 1 only? I think it's like top 4, top 8.
Just, oh, I thought it was number 1.
I think it's like top.
Well, because the reason I
eight.
asked is it would be really funny if like you were the winner and you didn't get an OLED Switch, and like the person in third just got lucky and like they happened to get the one OLED Switch of the batch to this weekend or whatever. I don't know. That just seems sad. I mean, but to get back to the prize support thing, so I think we can write off cash prizes, right? Like everybody, we kind of just know that that's not happening, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like we could write it off, but should we?
Konami's not doing it. I mean, I heard, everybody's heard the whole like Kazuki Takahashi said no cash prizes, but also I actually saw like this old Pojo thread where Julia Hedberg, head of the judge program, like commented on this Pojo thread, and she's like, "Yeah, we cannot do this because of the licensing agreement we have with Shueisha. Like, we just are not allowed to do cash."
So, okay.
So like. I mean, this is from like 2010 or something, so...
That doesn't mean the agreement changed.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it that's really changed. So I just think like the next best thing is like serialized cards or some event-exclusive rarity or something. Like, Chris, you showed me some One Piece card that was worth, like...
Yeah, I think that was at the, that was from... I
that Kaido, right?
From. Yeah, it was that Kaido card, but it was from one of the championships. If I'm not mistaken, but I think what was it like 90? It was like 90,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think the final bid was like 91,000 or something. It was a second place Kaido card. Like everybody, feel free to check look that up themselves. I don't know if it went for that much actually, but
yeah, I mean,
from what I've been seeing, that was legit,
man.
And
that's
crazy.
Insane.
But I do know. I do know the Luffy cards from the World Championship are going for a whole bunch. And I think it's only like 4 of those in existence.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so surprised Konami... Here's something weird. Why don't they just switch the public events prizing with, like, main event prizing? Or like, find some middle ground with that. Because they give all these giant cards, and they have, like, these uncut sheets and stuff that you can get for public events at YCS events. Like, they're not easy to get. Like, you have to obviously... It's still... You gotta win them and get like those prize tickets and stuff. But like, it's strange to me that I can get uncut sheets from farming public events, but like winning the YCS gets you none of that. Like that's so. You just like switch them. Is it? I wonder if there's like a reason they haven't.
Hey! You speak. What you're saying is gonna make a lot of people upset.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. Like I thought that would be like an easier thing to do for Konami. Like
I mean, maybe not even switch them. Just like make them
like
give those out in like give that stuff out in public events, but then give out the better versions in the main event. Like
yeah.
A lot of this seems like it's so easy to like understand and comprehend, and like so easy to fix. But like
there's got to be something that we just don't know.
Year after year, we're starting to notice that like. It's not that easy according to Konami. Like, we all have like perfect ideas on how to fix this, but like, does Konami have these same ideas?
Yeah, clearly we're missing something, right?
Ideas? We're clearly missing something. At this point, we have to miss something.
I have a question for you guys. Okay, so
what you got?
There's another version of Glutonia, and people don't really think this is a very good prize card. It's a vanilla. It doesn't really have any rep or prestige to it. Like, it's not like, oh, it's like a Luffy card. It's just kind of this monster. And it's not useful in competitive play either. how do you guys feel about prizing being like? You remember like Minerva and the Chaos Emperor Dragon and Pendulum, like back when those were prize cards? Do you think those make good prize cards because they are like competitive cards that demand value because like they actually have a use in deck building, or do you think that's like bad because, well, now you can only play Minerva if you've like topped a YCS?
So in the interest of like top players, I think it's a good thing. That means they can probably sell them quickly and get a decent amount of money for them. But you know, for the rest of us, that just means like a minimum of what, 2 or 3 years before the card gets reprinted.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like them because I don't think that players shouldn't have equal access to the thing. Like, if I want to play Light Sworns, and we're going to say like it's 2016 or 17 or whatever when Minerva came out, and like I literally just cannot like access a Minerva because there's only like 12 of them or something on the planet. I don't think that prize cards should be exclusive competitive cards that give that person an advantage, but I do think that prize cards could be like an alternate art Ash Blossom, or you know what I mean? Like,
the Bandai method, right? Where the prize cards are reprints of good cards with stamps and extra foiling on them. Because I think in every single Bandai card game, their prize cards all go for thousands, like multiple thousands. And but we look at Yu-Gi-Oh! And you kind of have to beg somebody to buy these prize cards sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
I do know in I haven't really played a lot of Digimon competitively, but I know in One Piece, the prizing usually starts at like top 128, top 64, somewhere around there, and they're all playable cards. They just better rarities of those playable cards, and you know, price. I mean, no, what you can sell them for goes up, you know, depending on which prize you get. But like, I don't know. I think it's too easy for. That's the easy way. Konami should adopt that. Like this.
I know we can't do.
Right
I know
out
we
the
can't
gate.
do cash, but has anybody just off by the by? Has anyone seen how much you get paid for Pokemon regionals? Like the payouts?
Oh, we had we talked about
college.
that on the pod once.
Yeah, like they upped that last year. Like, now to be clear, Pokemon regional, they use the word regional, but it's kind of more like what our YCS events are. First place gets $10,000 in the Masters division. And second place gets $7,000. Third and fourth get $5,000, and that's in addition to 108 packs. So it's very, you know.
I thought I heard they give out scholarships.
They
Yeah,
do
for like the kids division.
For like the junior divisions and stuff. There's scholarships.
That's amazing.
No, even as an adult, I'll take a
amazing.
$10,000 scholarship too.
Right.
So like I don't know. I mean, I know that this gets into the second thing. Is it? And this is maybe more of like a hot take, devil's advocate sort of thing. And I really want people to like consider this. What is it, like what should you be entitled to for being a pro Yu-Gi-Oh player? Because I have heard some dissenting opinions, you know, in regards to her video where it's like, okay, yeah, you know, you traveled to this event and you've been playtesting and like prepping and you won it or you topped it, but like, is being good at Yu-Gi-Oh something that you should be able to like make a living from or like, you know, get kind of cash value from?
So, you know, we're all three of us, we're invested in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? To varying degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people realize the more invested you got in Yu-Gi-Oh, the better you can perform. And the community as a whole has become over invested in Yu-Gi-Oh. They realize if they put in an obscene amount of hours into the game, they can perform even better. The problem is, Konami never asked us to get invested to that degree. They never promised to reward us for getting that invested. We created pro players in a game that never wanted them.
I mean, I don't even know that I would say that there's like that someone can call themselves a professional Yu-Gi-Oh player. Like sort of ish. I don't know.
Okay, Paul, you can say that because you've competed with them. I've watched professionals play, and I can tell the difference.
Well, I guess what I'm saying though is just like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's so unofficial with how competition works. Like, you know how in sports there's like so many more statistics and like rankings, and you really kind of know if someone's a professional or not in sports. Whereas with Yu-Gi-Oh, we kind of like Konami doesn't say much of anything about like somebody having, let's say, 6 event tops, right? Like someone's like won X amount of YCS events or top. Like Konami, you don't get any official recognition from it. It's just kind of the community will respect you, or at least the people that follow it. And I say that not to downplay the accomplishment. I know that it's difficult to, be consistent at these events and win. It's just that, does that mean that you should get like several $1,000s worth of prizing for winning said event? And I'm just not sure if I have the answer to that.
I'd argue that like at this point in the game, and like just I say yes.
Okay.
And the only reason I say yes is because I don't know, like we live in like a society where like everything is compared to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the fact that we play games with cardboard that makes this game gonna be compared to everything else.
Yeah.
So if you look at this game, you look at the skill level you have to be at to be a top player in this game, as compared to other games. It's kind of night and day when it comes to just looking at how much skill you got to have to be great at Yu-Gi-Oh, as opposed to like Pokemon. Not saying Pokemon players aren't great; they're great in their own respect. And Pokemon seems like a easy game at base, but it's actually not. But like just looking at the two, like you can easily look at Yu-Gi-Oh and say, oh, those guys, they practice a lot, they study a lot. It's a harder game to play, and you start looking at prizing, it just doesn't compare.
I mean,
it doesn't add up. And then like I hate to keep going back to the Bandai games, but like you look at those as being the new kids on the block. They come in, and honestly, I'll even say this with Bandai. Their top end prizing is amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what gets everybody else into those Bandai games. It's what you get for participation in those games also.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't talk about that a lot because granted, you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh event, right? You pay your $20-$25, right? And you get your 5 packs every time you go to an event, correct?
Yeah.
Those 5 packs can be from the worst set that's out at the time.
Yeah.
They can be from the worst set. And there's no card in that set that's over $25 if you play the game enough. But you go to Bandai in their entry pricing will give you cards that aren't out yet. They'll give you cards that aren't out yet.
You get stamped cards just for participating.
Yes. Just for participating. And a lot of those cards, this is their first printing. Those cards also have value. There were times when I was going to One Piece events and I was getting cards that were worth like $100 out of entry.
I sometimes think,
you see what I'm saying? That's like, so like it's not only the top end that's going crazy in those other games, it's the lower end also compared to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Which I just think it's strange. We had the Ultimate Duelist series. We had the UDS like grand tournament where Konami was recognizing the most accomplished competitive duelists we had. And what did they get for that?
I mean, I know those UDS mats were quite exclusive. I know those are supposed to be worth a good bit. Yeah, I mean,
I've seen a few of those at Nationals being sold for a lot of money.
So here's something too, just to add to it. It doesn't really answer the question, but just something that's worth noting is, I think that what you said, Chris, is right about how today competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And the expectation around being able to get paid for it is tied to what the competition is doing. I saw like Joshua Schmidt mentioned that, okay, well, Yu-Gi-Oh's never had like good pricing. Why is it a problem now? And he's right. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, I've been playing for about 15 years now, like on the competitive side or whatever, or sort of competitive side. And like the pricing's never been more than a deck box like for topping a regional, and like YCS events will get like console of choice plus prize card, and that's like call it a day. I think the difference now though is that in 2024 there's this expectation that everything is like every hobby or like skill or interest should be monetizable. Like being good at something in 2024 means it should be like an esport or like a content creation or like a brand or just something, whereas like in 2000 and maybe 12 that just wasn't the case. Like being good at Yu-Gi-Oh was just you do it for the pride and that's kind of it, right? The pride, respect of your
It
peers.
feels like nowadays, if anything ever comes out, and if you develop a skill set for it, there's some avenue for you to make some money. It feels like no matter what happens, no matter what comes out, there's a way for you to turn that into a moneymaker.
Yeah, people see like that other games are kind of allowing that. And some top players even switched to Lorcana and like Pokemon and seen success. And like I think people are seeing that these other games you can not even make a living off of them, but like seriously reimburse your invested time. And so that's why the conversation is now like swinging back to Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh's been around for so long and it's kind of gotten complacent a little with like maybe the prizing, and it feels like it should be more.
But there's a blessing here. If more competitive players start to feel like there isn't that much as much reward to being successful at competing at Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe that actually ends up driving down the prices of competitive cards. If people will just understand the fact that like, hey, I mean, and this is not getting reimbursed. There's nothing beyond this.
I am sometimes surprised that like card prices are what they are given how little is actually at stake. Like, when you think about like when Snake Eye was like $1,000, it's a little cheaper now. Obviously, people know it's probably going to be getting banned here in a bit. But like,
yeah,
when like you think of, like the Fiendsmith engine, right? Like how much is Engraver right now? 90, $100, something like that. And it's,
I think last time I checked, it was like
110.
110.
Okay, so it's like it's weird to me that it is that much in this period of time where we're talking about how literally you get nothing for topping, or like you get nothing meaningful for topping. So it's like I kind of see what you're saying, Alec. Like, what if they just like because people know that there's not that much to win, maybe the prices should be lower because like, what are you paying $1,000 for a deck for? Like actually,
But really, I think it's a lesson people are only learning once they reach those heights. It's like we said before, there's 1,000 other people that all want to be where Jessica Robinson is. And they don't care what the prize support is.
Yeah. For them, I guess it's not the prize support, it's just the clout, right? Like the sense of being a top player, being in that conversation.
It's like, you got to get there to know what it's like. It's kind of like how we had to work with Konami to know what it was like.
Yeah, I know. So, anywho.
Hey, I'll say this though.
Yeah.
I'll say this though. And this kind of my last little, well, this is my, y'all might have more to say, but when it comes to prize support, bro, I see a lot of people online talking about how people shouldn't be complaining about prizing. And how and they always say, well, you weren't going to win it anyway, like that type of stuff. Well, now you got the pros complaining. So what now?
I do think that
everybody's complaining.
There's some downwards. There's like some real downwards pressure on Konami right now. I want to get back to that in a second. There's one last bit of bail I'm going to shoot Yu-Gi-Oh here around the prize support issue because there's still more of Jessica's video to technically dissect. One last thing I will say about Yu-Gi-Oh. And I was speaking to one of my friends, you guys know, one of my judge friends recently. They'll go unnamed. And a good point that they did make that Yu-Gi-Oh has over other games is, have you considered, I was looking up how much it costs to enter a Pokemon regional. Remember, that's the equivalent of a YCS. Do you know how much it costs to enter a Pokemon regional?
I couldn't tell you.
Isn't it like, it's like $35?
No. It's $80. It's $80. Yeah, and so
I play One Piece for the rest of my life.
And the thing is, guess how much it costs to enter a Lorcana event? Like of this, like a YCS, like
how much?
$50. So there is something to be said.
That was my guess.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the fact that these other games, like, they're not as welcoming to just the person who wants to walk up and play. Whereas if you consider Yu-Gi-Oh's YCS events, or even Nats, you don't even have to actually play in the YCS, and you are free to walk in. Like, you can just walk in, hang out, and like kind of make your own fun. And if you want to play, it's only $20 or I guess now $25. And so that is, I'll throw them some bail in that, like, Yu-Gi-Oh has that and a lot of other games don't. I remember that One Piece Treasure Cup we went to that one time where, Chris, you were playing in the event, but I was just spectating, and they were like, yeah, it's $30 to spectate. Now, I don't know if they do that anymore. That might have just been a one-time thing, but...
Oh, no. They if I'm not mistaken, and I think I missed the past couple of regions we had close, I think they have like a
spectator tickets
now that you can
and
buy.
Also, Alec, you're always telling me about how, like, with Digimon regionals, and apparently this is how it is with Pokemon ones too, from somebody I had asked about, you have to, like, pre-register for these things. And
very far in advance.
You know, I need to pre-register really far in advance, like, you know, slots fill up and then you just can't, like, go. You can't just show up at the door, and that is something that only Yu-Gi-Oh offers. So...
Oh, that's One Piece also. Like, you know those regionals, you have to apply for those regionals months.
I was spoiled off Yu-Gi-Oh. I didn't realize that was going to be a kind of unique thing in card games. I thought we could walk into any regional. Wrong.
Yeah. So,
and
you know, I'm not saying it like solves the prizing debate, but I do think that maybe we are taking it for granted that Yu-Gi-Oh events are as easy to kind of just hop up out of bed and like pull up, you know, compared to some of these other games. It's weird, like that. I don't know where that fits in the conversation, but I just think it's worth noting. So there's also still more of Jessica's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but that's not really relevant to someone like Jessica Robinson.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a little bit more to her video that I just wanted to kind of quickly get into. She does talk about the power level of the game, getting like one card starters, lots of like floodgatey hand traps. She, to sort of paraphrase, I guess, felt that the power level of the game has gotten so high that it's maybe less enjoyable and also maybe feels more volatile. Because for a player of her skill level, and it's not to be understated, she's very good. She and some other top players have like sort of said it feels as though when the power level gets as high as it does, it can feel a little like RNG-ish, right? Like, you know, if you're having to run 15 or 18 hand traps and like, you know, you're just dealing with Engraver and Snake Eye Ash and all these like one card kind of does everything decks, it just kind of starts to deteriorate, I guess, the experience, perhaps, is sort of the vibe I got. Do we have any thoughts on this?
I think the more polarizing the meta, the more polarizing the anti-meta. And you can kind of see that in our format. The format we're currently in is Fiendsmith decks and then anti-meta decks. And I call anti-meta is anything that tries to win at Yu-Gi-Oh without playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I know outside of just Yubel and like Snake Eye with Fiendsmith, there's also like pretty much every other alternative is kind of a weird gimmick. Hot Red Locks, Gimmick Puppet FTK, Shifter deck. It's weird because like you can't really blame people. Like, let's keep it a buck here. Snake Eye Fiendsmith is broken. It is extremely powerful. It is extremely consistent, and it doesn't really like run out of steam. It has options for dealing with everything. Same with Yubel, to be honest.
And Konami couldn't wait for us to play with that.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, well,
bro, before we got Fiendsmith, bro, you don't know how many like matches I've like stumbled into winning with Snake Eye. Like I'm not a great Yu-Gi-Oh player. I'm first one to tell anybody that. I like the new stuff. I like the new cool expensive stuff. I get it when I can, but like, bro, you fumble with like. I mean, I guess that speaks to the power level. Some like that stuff is so strong that like you don't have to play perfectly to win games.
Yeah, and I guess like it's kind of because these decks are so powerful. It feels like the only real way to deal with to expect to get a win otherwise is to Gimmick Puppet FTK somebody. or like literally just drop a shifter and try to like win right off of that, or hot red someone. And so it just feels like, I guess the power level is so high that maybe that's like a reason, that she sort of cites that as a reason why she's just over it. I'll be honest, I don't see that really changing. Like, even when Snake Eye gets hit, it's just, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, this seems like this is kind of how it is now. Like, all these decks get Poplars, all these decks have like these one-card starters. I'm sometimes amazed when I read like Snake Eye Ash and stuff. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this card does everything. Like,
I mean,
every card has like 2 or 3 effects. Like,
I don't know how it is in the OCG. Maybe the existence of Max C makes these formats like these feel more manageable. Maybe, but it feels weird that they even went and printed the Fiend Link monster that can get you into your Fiend into the Fiendsmith engine.
Yeah, that card's insane.
That card was literally made just for that purpose. Otherwise, she's not very good herself. There's no archetype that needs her. She's just a bridge to let any deck that can put out 2 monsters go into Fiendsmith. And I always wonder, like, Konami, why?
Yeah, it sometimes makes you think that Konami really, like, they kind of embrace it. Like, they're just like, you know what? Like, this stuff's going to be broken and we're going to, like, let it. And I know it sounds like a broken record here, but, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's kind of doomed to be this way. There isn't set rotation.
No, for sure.
There's no resource system in this game. If you see it, you can play it. So in order to like sell the new thing, they really do have to make it increasingly like better and better and better. And something that I saw someone point out, and this is maybe like a worrying thought, is so we've seen like this increase in people playing Time Wizard formats, right? Like nowadays, like Ultimate Time Wizard at YCS events and stuff is huge. There's a lot of people playing that. But when you look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Content on the internet, the most viewed Yu-Gi-Oh! Like dual gameplay content is people not actually playing like paper competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! It's people playing Spin the Wheel or whatever on Master Duel or some draft thing, because
I thought for some reason you said Spin the Wheel and my brain thought Spin the Bottle? What?
Oh yeah, so people playing Spin the Bottle on YouTube. No, but I mean, like, it just seems like if you're in the competitive sphere, you kind of deal with it all, but the average person doesn't seem like they really, like, it's people seem kind of burnt out of it. Maybe that's...
Yeah, I mean, outside of, I see that type of content. I think that really the only competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Content I see when people actually playing the competitive card game is like DB Grinder. Yeah. And like, shouts out to him because like, I know whenever I want to watch competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, or learn something about new decks, I watch that channel and like, it scratches the competitive itch. But like, other than that, nobody else does that type of content. And I guess because it just does, like, I don't know. We talked about it before, I'm sure. That type of stuff just doesn't.
There's not that much. It doesn't get a lot of like interest. It's like there's a very loyal set of people who want to like really get good at Yu-Gi-Oh! And get the competitive stuff. But I think that like in terms of what the average person wants to see, I mean, how many like Snake Eye Dittos can you really bear to watch? I think that they're like struggling to. I think they're really happy whenever they can get that Ancient Gear deck, for instance, that like did really well at Nats. Or it didn't do like really well, but it was like
it
on
did
the
well
feature
in a
match
feature
table,
match.
And it got a win over like Yubel or something. And those are like the highlights because we're like Yubel's broken, Snake Eyes is broken. Like we don't really need to see these. There's not much new to see with watching these decks.
I think the hardest part with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Content for me as like a creator is that your comments are 90% just going to be critiques of the gameplay. Why didn't you do this? You could have done that. It's like, well, I didn't have perfect knowledge. And you did this instead of that. That was inoptimal. This is the line you should have made. And it's like, so you make the competitive content. It's already a small group of people watching it. And then they get in comments and just critique.
Right.
I'm very familiar with that. Okay, well, here's something then to put a bow on this Jessica Robinson discussion. What's Konami do from here? Like, realistically, what can we expect, if anything at all?
I expect nothing.
That's what they
Wait,
should
what did you
do.
say, Chris?
I said they should listen to the people. But what I expect them to do, drop a ban list.
Yeah.
Make people shut up for now.
Satiate the people for a little bit.
Wait till somebody figures out the next broken deck and start complaining again. It's a cycle in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, we complain, we get a ban list, everybody shuts up. Everybody, it happens all over again. It's going to keep happening.
Stockholm syndrome a little bit, where, and I know that sounds so mean to say, but I mean, I really do sometimes think, like, Konami. So, like, you know how, like, right before a ban list, this time's a little different, but, like, normally before a ban list, we don't even have dates anymore. So we never even know when ban lists are going to happen. And when ban list season is, like, in effect and people are really getting impatient, like, I'm tired of the format, ban this, ban that, this is so broken, please release a ban list. And they start getting angry and they start spamming the social media with, like, where's the ban list, where's the ban list? Then the moment that Konami releases one, people are, like, so happy. And they forget that they didn't just, like, pull their hair out for the last few weeks asking for a ban list, because now they're just happy that they got it. So it's kind of like you're getting, those abusive relationships where it's like, okay, I'm mean to you all the time, but I'm occasionally nice to you, kind of randomly, to keep you on the hook and, like, keep you, like, oh, well, like, it's okay, like, he's nice to me sometimes. It kind of feels like that, because they're going to release this ban list and we're going to feel temporarily, sated. Like, yeah, like, they did hit Snake Eye. Maybe there's hope. But, like, is there? I mean...
Hey, having a short memory is useful in this game. Just reset once the ban list comes out. You've already forgotten the last format. A new format has started. You're going to be a YCS champion this time.
Like, I saw people, Konami did that thing where, like, you can get, like, a discount hotel rates for YCS. What's that one that's in California? Sacramento,
Sacramento.
Yeah. They were like, yeah, they have, like, a discount hotel block. And some people sort of saw that as, like, oh, like, they're listening. This is sort of it's a small step toward improving, like, helping players reimburse or, like, lessen the cost of traveling to these events. I'm going to just throw something out here about that. They've actually always done that. I don't know why this is, like, being seen as a new thing. They have had plenty of YCS events that have had, like, discount hotel rates, if you look. So that isn't, like, a new development. I think maybe people didn't know that they were doing that, but that's, like, just wanted to, add that in. I think that's the most you can expect with Konami a lot of times. Just, like, these slow, small, like, incremental steps forward. And they're not going to be big.
I mean, I don't expect anything out of Konami, ever. That's just what I've learned. Would it be nice if Konami listens to the criticism and endeavors to make changes for the game? But at this point, it's more likely that, like, whatever's going on with Duel Links in China will save the game.
Yeah. I'd say that, too, with Konami. It's like, I'm not saying I think that they're even a bad company. Like, I know that's the easy thing to say is like, oh, Konami, they suck, they're terrible, they're killing this game, it's so awful, they're greedy. I don't think that it's that. I think that what it really comes down to is, what reason do they actually have to change any of this? And I'm serious about that. Like, info is flying off shelves,
true.
Isn't it? Like, people are buying info, vendors, players, because, like, Fiendsmith, and events are, like, hitting entry caps and stuff. Like, they're getting 2,000, near 3,000 players at these events. If you're, in charge of planning and stuff, you see good metrics. Like, if you're a company and you see that the product is selling and the people are showing up to events, what is there to change? Like,
Bro, I went to Nationals in Austin and just walking around the building and just seeing everything, seeing everybody, and like, right, it was so cool to be in. I hadn't been to a Yu-Gi-Oh event in so long, and just seeing everybody was having a good time. Like, people playing Edison, people playing what is it, Rivalry of the Warlord, like, just all kind of stuff, giant card, like, people love this game, and people are going to continue to go to events. Like, they're never going to see a drop off in there.
Yeah.
Like, so honestly, I mean, being real, they really have no reason to change anything. And like I said, I hate to see players like Jessica Robinson stop playing competitive, but, like, I mean, truth is, I don't think Konami is gonna really care too much.
Yeah.
And it sucks to say that because, like I said, these are some of our big names in the game, and they're great at the game, and they put a lot of eyes on the game. But at the end of the day, bro, people are still showing up to these events.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, as long as they're sure,
People
because as long as the people who are playing like in person are liking it, there's just not a lot more to say. Like, it could just be a thing that's more centered online. Like, it's just like people are shouting online, but like, well, you know, the events are filling up, and we say we hate Snake Eye and Fiendsmith, but like people are at the YCSs, so you know.
I've also seen like a few of the pro players just say they don't care about prize, and they say they do this for glory. And with that mentality like that, like I said, ain't nothing wrong with that. If you do it for glory, do it for glory. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
But y'all are a very small part of the other community, and y'all are the ones who are winning. I think y'all should ask for more. Just
Yeah.
Value yourselves.
Yeah, at least a little.
Because honestly, the eyes that you guys put on the game, like outside of like what we do with YugiTube and what other YugiTubers do, because we put a lot of eyes on the game also. Give us some respect on that part, but y'all should want more, not just glory, because look at all these other card games. They're getting what they want.
They get glory
I know
and
people.
a check.
I know people.
I guess the best that we could probably hope for then is if Lorcana and One Piece start to actually encroach on sales or like attendance, and like there's a tangible way for Konami to see that, I think that's when things change. Like right now, it kind of feels more like it's hearsay. Like, oh yeah, you know, I know a guy who switched to Lorcana, he's liking it more. Okay, great. But until Konami like sees sales being lost to those games, they don't have like reason to change.
Yeah, I see Lorcana on shelves still.
Yeah.
Like, you know, info came out. I don't see a lot of that on
Maybe
shelves.
it's because it's selling well though. Who knows? Could be. I don't know.
You know.
Okay, well.
Now, One Piece different.
Yeah, no, yeah, One Piece sells. That is, I have seen that there's a lot of demand for that. Okay, well, there's a bunch of other Yu-Gi-Oh announcements. Since we spent some time on this Jessica Robinson video, a lot of just mini, small, kind of quick things. It's sort of rapid fire, so I guess I'll just go through them quick, fast, in a hurry. Anyone can weigh in as they feel. We have been getting more information on the tins. The 25th anniversary Dueling Mirrors tins. Each day they've been like showing a new card that's on the cover of the tins. I think today, we're recording this on Wednesday, they showed Speedroid Terratop, but they also showed like Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, number 39 Utopia Double. These are just the cards that are going to be like on the outside of the tin, so they're kind of anime-based things. Any thoughts?
I mean, I'm always excited for a Terratop reprint.
Yeah.
Right.
Now the maybe bigger news with that was that yesterday they announced Triple Tactics Thrust is going to be in the tins. Prismatic Secret Rare, which kind of had some people not too pleased. Wow. What are your thoughts?
Why couldn't they print it common so we could all have one?
Right. At this point, like,
I've got two complaints about these tins. The first one is I think the tins look cool. There's a lot of good reprints. I think that they're literally better than like the last couple years of tins, just off of that alone, because we are seeing like the Chaos Angel and like the Trident Dragion and all that stuff. But why is Triple Tactics Thrust like Prismatic Secret? Like it's the third reprint of the third printing of the card, second reprint of the card. Why not make it like a lower rarity so that?
Because they still don't really want us to have one.
I guess they still need it to be chasing.
And the other ones aren't cheap. the other rarities aren't cheap at all. Like I bought 3 of them like a few months ago, and they were $50.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this will at least help to bring the price down. So like that's nice, but I think that with these reprint sets, it'd be nice if they would actually they know what people want, and I really do wish they could like kind of ease back on those rarities for that stuff. The second thing is this tin's 400 cards. So like, you know.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I'm going to buy 5 tins in total. And that's going to have to be it. I'm going to have to pull everything I wanted out of those 5.
Yeah, because like this set's huge. There's so many cards in these tins. Like, you won't be able to expect to get any particular thing.
I'm gonna go to locals and be a scavenger.
Yeah, like Chris is like, I'm not buying
You
it.
don't want
Yeah,
that?
what do you don't what you
Let
don't
me
need?
have
I'm gonna
it.
take that. I'm gonna take that.
Right. And any single I need, I'm just gonna buy it.
Last thing too that's just kind of funny about this, wasn't last tin called the 25th anniversary tin is like Dueling Heroes?
Yeah.
It's just so funny, like, we're still calling it 25th anniversary. Like, how can an anniversary last 2 years?
I'm curious, when's the 26th anniversary? When does that exactly happen?
It doesn't.
We on 27.
We'll be on
Is it-
30 like next year. Like, unironically, we'll probably be like on next year just starts the 30th anniversary.
Hey, but next year, if we stay on the 25th, then it'll be 2025 and it'll be the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, so it's just like year
Right.
3 of it. So those are the tins. Listen, cool reprints. It's fun. I'll buy some tins and shut up and be happy. I don't know. That's what Konami probably wants me to do.
Yeah, like I'll probably buy like 2 of them to support my locals, but
End of story.
I ain't buying no
Yeah.
more than that.
Okay, well, the next thing is Advent of the Eyes of Blue. That's that new Blue Eye structure deck that's in the OCG. You guys might remember, like, about a month
Yikes.
ago, we got the first few announcements of, like, the support and stuff that was in it. And then last week, we also got a few more cards. And the thing that everybody's talking about is this new Blue Eyes Link 1 monster, because everybody loves a good Link 1 monster that searches a field spell when it's summoned. Yeah, Blue Eyes has a Link 1 now, and yeah, I mean, it just,
We are truly living in the best of times. Blue Eyes with a Link 1 that searches a field spell?
it's like Mausoleum of White, so it's not the best field spell in the
know.
world.
Hey, that's a card.
I think it takes like a,
I don't know. These I was gonna say these combo videos I've been seeing. I don't think it's the best.
okay,
of
so
time.
it's something,
I'm be honest.
okay, yeah, see, I haven't seen the combo videos. Is it like new Dragon Link kind of levels of,
I've watched them going to Fiendsmith.
Nah, I've been seeing them go into the card that came out in Battles of Legend.
Oh, Magia.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the good news. They got to pay like $600 for that, so.
Oh no, that's the problem. That is the problem.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's a good thing or a bad thing. depends
Like,
on who
maybe
you
it'll
ask.
be bad. Would it be crazy if we go into if we enter another format where Blue Eyes ends up meta again?
Listen,
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know if that's like the combo, like the main one that people are trying to do with that. But I seen.
I mean, hot take.
And,
I have a hot take. Maybe it's good if Blue Eyes is meta because like it makes Yu-Gi-Oh look more marketable. Like, oh, the Blue
Yeah.
Eyes deck is like winning.
Oh, he needs a $600 card.
yeah, I can see that too.
Like, I mean, I'll say what I said about this Blue Eyes deck last time. It's a good like this product will probably be one of the best-selling things. Like people buy these Blue Eyes decks
Yeah.
for all eternity. So if it's like actually competitive out the box and like you can buy a couple, like buy 3 of them and you know, good.
I hope they put some good reprints in it.
Yeah.
But what do we need for Blue Eyes now? I feel like every Blue Eyes card has been reprinted at this point.
Well, not just.
Are you talking
Blue
about
Eyes.
just-
Oh, just in
I'm
general. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, we get to
They'll throw something in.
put another Ash Blossom reprint in there.
Yeah.
Reprint some of this stuff to hell. That's
I
I've
could
always
always
been-
use more Imperms and Ash Blossoms.
Yeah, I've always been a fan
Right.
of like just put prosperity in there, put whatever staples so people can have a few more.
Prosperity. Yeah, just at least one of them.
Okay, so crossover breakers. That's that new set, the new deck builder set that's coming out later this year. We got a reveal of another theme. It's the Apodracosis. I hope I'm saying that right.
You don't have to. The Yu-Gi community is going to butcher that forever.
Yeah, so they showed
Right.
the cards. Chris, I think you said that they look like Pokemon legendaries.
No, yeah, the color schemes. It did.
Yeah, so it's like a dinosaur, a sea serpent, and like a worm, I believe, right?
And they all want to be dragons.
Yeah, and so they kind of search these continuous spells.
And what were the Pokemon?
Yeah, it's like Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. They do kind of look like it. So this theme, they get these continuous spell cards, and the continuous spells like, give them extra effects, and then they've got like this boss monster that's like a pendulum ritual. I read the effects all once, and that's like kind of it. I didn't it didn't speak to me very much as a theme.
Same. I don't think it's something I'll play.
I glanced at it and
it doesn't
didn't
look.
want to read.
It doesn't look cool enough. For
Same.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's for someone, I'm sure. It might even end up being really good. I just wanted to kind of point it out. I think that the card designs look nice, but it's just, it's for somebody.
Did you see the field spell that they showed off for the machine archetype in crossover?
Oh, I saw that. That was revealed like earlier today. It's that field spell that lets you.
I haven't seen it.
So it allows you to put 2 of them on the bottom of your deck and draw 1 card. But then also you can negate a monster effect each turn. Is it something like that? I might need to double check that.
Find it. It's for the Riziol archetype. Where is this card?
You talking about the little robot looking archetype?
Yeah. It's okay. The card is Raziel Cross.
Oh, yeah. I'm building that one.
Yeah, it's so it's like you can target 2 Raziel cards in your GY, put them on the bottom of the deck in any order, draw 1 card. And then also, once per turn, when an opponent's activated monster effect resolves, you can detach 1 material from your Raziel Xyz monster, and if you do, negate that effect. So, actually a pretty strong field spell, all things considered.
But does that mean the archetype won't have ready access to negate itself?
I suppose not. I haven't even read the Raziel. I read them again just briefly when they were revealed, but people are freaking out about this field spell because it's pretty good.
I mean, I like it because that archetype has some inherent synergies with Spriggans, but most importantly, Gigantic Champion Sargas, who is an Xyz, who's a machine Xyz, who as long as a monster is detached on your field, he can trigger to target and destroy a card.
Yeah. Something else to note.
Paul, you know one thing, and because you just said something about that field spell. I don't know if you talked about it yet, but field spells in this game have gotten.
Oh, they're nuts. I mean, it's
that's another story for another day.
They're nuts.
I just want to throw that out.
Remember Umi? No, better yet, Sogen.
Yeah, back when field spells were you get 200 attack. So there's something actually kind of unassuming about this field spell that not a lot of, or some people have noticed this. That third effect, where it's your opponent's activated monster effect resolves, attach material. That effect is one of those effects that applies when the effect is resolving. So it doesn't actually activate, which means
doesn't start a chain.
Yeah, so it's kind of a scary thing because it just means I don't know if anybody remembers that Mermail spell card, the Abyss Scale of the Mizuchi that when a spell is resolving, it just negates it and goes to the grave. Yeah, this is the same.
It resolves.
Yeah.
It resolves.
Yeah, it just resolves, and so it's kind of a little scary to think about. I don't know.
I call it casual negation.
Yeah, just a kind of casual, uncaring negation, and then it'll also trigger other effects. So that's pretty cool. Next thing is some kind of big news around Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So 2 things. First of all, Master Duel is getting a version update. The update, I think, goes live tonight when I'm recording this. Some cool app updates and quality of life improvements. You can now the home screen shows you your active missions and your next gym reward. There's some cool new in-game things. I remember when they added the infinite impermanence column, kind of keeps this little glowing effect after it's resolved to remind you.
Very helpful.
About the imperm column. Well, this time. A counter for the number of summons that your opponent has conducted now appears on Nibiru in your hand and in the card preview window.
Need that in real life too.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. It kind of will count Nibiru summons for you.
Yeah, wouldn't that be sick? You're playing an IRL game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Your opponent has one of those hand clicker things.
Yeah.
Where they count people that enter buildings and stuff, but they're just clicking it every time you summon.
But what's actually more interesting is that Master Duel got this announcement for this mystery event. I don't know if anyone saw this.
The tweet?
Yeah, so they tweeted this out on social media and stuff, and literally it's just coming soon, a Master Duel event unlike anything you've ever seen. Announcement trailer drops on next Monday, August 12th. So, any guesses what this might be?
There's so much anticipation and hype in that very simple, like vague message.
Yeah.
Ain't they getting ready for they getting ready for like the Master Duel Worlds and stuff too,
Yeah,
right?
maybe it has something to do with that. I mean, I thought it could also be like a content creator invitational again, but like I haven't heard anything about it because I'm not invited to it. But I mean, I didn't know if it was like going to be something that's like an event that you just watch. Like, yeah, you know, your content creators are duking it out, or is it going to be like an in-game event?
But wait, Chris, if Paul was under NDA, he couldn't tell us anyway. So maybe it
Yeah, I
is
suppose
happening.
that's
He
true,
can't
yeah.
tell us.
I could be under
Blink
NDA.
twice if you're under NDA.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. Like, anytime that they change something with Master Duel, you know, it's a game that I've said for a while needs a few new modes. Maybe they're finally adding a draft mode or something. I don't know.
See, but this is Konami's done this before, where they come out with these really vague, very hype setting like messages and announcements just for something incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah, last
Like-
time it was those Egyptian god cards last time, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, I was so upset.
Oh,
Those
God.
steel Egyptian gods.
Yeah, that wasn't. And they hyped that stuff up too. They were like, yeah, like here's when the announcement's coming. Like, stay glued to your screens, and then So.
Did y'all pre-order your Dark Magician girl?
Oh no, I don't want that. Listen.
Wait, how much is she going for?
150.
I don't have that right now, so no, I'm not.
Those stainless steel. That's not really my jam. Not really.
Not sure what it could be though. To be honest,
I guess we'll see.
I don't know. I hope it's something good. Hope something that the community will enjoy. That's really all I'd be asking for. I want people to be happy with the game.
Yeah.
Because it's the game we all love. So.
And a couple of last quick things. Jaden, Yuki, and Yubel accessories got revealed. I'm sure you guys have seen these. It's it's Yubel and Jaden. They're on Matt's
Wait, I don't know if I
sleeves.
have seen them.
Oh, okay. I tweeted it out actually on Twitter if you want to just like hop over and see it. But it's just the
I'm just gonna
usual.
plug your Twitter real quick. I see you.
Well, it's the usual deck boxes, sleeves, portfolio, playmat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see these at all.
Yeah, they look pretty cool. It's going to be coming out next January, so it's kind of fun, something you can pick up. And then
Why January? Why
I know,
not
right?
now?
Like, I do hate when it's so far out because like Yubel's going to be banned by then. Like, no problem.
I like the playmat. It looks.
Yeah, the mat's cool. I just think like
Do the sleeves look a little different from regular Konami sleeves, or maybe it's just the render?
maybe they've got a new formula going because the sleeve.
Because they remind me of like the art sleeves you'll see from like Dragon Shield a little. It has more of a matte look to it.
It does. It does. I mean, if Konami is improving the whatever formula they use to make these, sign me up. I love when they release this stuff, but the quality of the sleeves is always so iffy that I don't know. But they look cool. They don't come out until January. I do think it'd be nice if it'd be sooner because they'll probably have banned like Phantom of Yubel and Beckoning Beast or something. I don't know before then.
Yeah.
But before then.
I don't mind losing Beckoning Beast. And I could lose Phantom of Yubel. I could take that, yeah.
And then last quick thing. I wanted to give a shout out to Noah Lyles. He did win the 100-meter, what is it called?
You are wild. You're going to shout out Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
Specifically you, even though the rest of the world's doing the same thing.
No, it's only my shout out that means anything at all.
Because he ain't getting one.
Yeah, he won. Yeah, I mean, like he won this 100-meter relay. This is a big deal because he had the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and the Exodia, and it's cool. It's cool.
It's dope. It's dope. I'm joking when I say that. I despise him for those NBA comments he made.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah, it's dope.
He did a Kamehameha when he won. They say so.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight.
What's interesting, so I mentioned Duel Links China early on, but I think it was on like the first of the month. They did a data mine dump of Duel Links China, and they found assets of Noah Lyles in Duel Links.
There's going to be an event, like a banner or something with him on it. It's going to be in Duel Links, only in China apparently, because
I mean, maybe they're gonna bring back their ambassador program.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you guys think Konami will try to do anything with him? Ambassadorship or some promo video, something?
Like they did it with that one soccer player at one time.
Boy, did that go
Yeah,
well.
he immediately got into some controversy, or his
Yeah,
teammates were making some jokes, and I think
I-
after that happened, Konami decided like, yeah, we're not ever doing this probably ever again. So
Yeah, I mean, and you know, Noah Lyles is known for being a very opinionated individual. That might be it may not be in Konami's best interest.
yeah, I think that was just like a one-time thing. Like those probably do like one isolated maybe interview or feature, feature him in something, but like it won't be like a long-term.
Yeah, what if they send him prize support? Like he gets another verse Glutoni and a Nintendo Switch.
And a rubber mat.
I didn't know allows a Nintendo Switch is crazy.
That was so sad. So, yeah. Well, anyway, that is. I think that's all the Yu-Gi-Oh for the week.
Yeah, I that's everything I'd seen.
Pretty much. Well, cool. Any other thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh? Like just how it's. What are we thinking? Do we think any of this does it bode well? Anything I missed?
I mean, I don't know. Business as usual.
Yeah, business as usual.
Like I said again, Jessica Robinson. Hate to see somebody stepping out of the competitive scene. But hopefully they'll be back.
Yeah.
Hopefully her and anybody else who's left will be back. So, and having a good time with Yu-Gi-Oh. Because like I said, I like to see it. I like the pro players. It's a dope thing.
And I'm looking forward to. Like I do root for Yu-Gi-Oh. I know like we get on this podcast every week and it always feels like there's like more doom and gloom, but like two things. A, I am always rooting for Konami to like do things right or change things or Yu-Gi-Oh to go well. And also like this isn't the only game that's got problems. Like Magic is embroiled in a controversy every week, and so it's not.
Pokemon's full of thieves.
Yeah, Pokemon has its crazy. Alec always has a Pokemon theft story. So.
It keeps happening. It's pretty consistent. It's honestly kind of alarming.
Yeah. So cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Chris, in our Yu-Gi-Oh news breakdown. Really appreciate the time.
It's cool. Y'all can have me on anytime y'all want to. Just let me know.
That's great. I'm about to hop off. Chris, you can take over for the rest of the pod today.
Okay, so that was Chris's input on the Yu-Gi-Oh news of the week. There was so much of it, honestly.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, a lot. We definitely went on a little longer than we usually do about Yu-Gi-Oh, but I figure that that's a good place to hop right into the Pot of Greed viewer questions that you guys always submit.
Let's ask the pot.
Yeah. So remember, guys, you can submit these down below in the link down below in the description. I think next week what we'll probably do is catch up on a lot more of the news that's happened this week that we couldn't talk about. And yeah. So here are our viewer questions.
Who is joining the conversation this week?
So this one comes to us from Big Koush, Koush. I don't know, Couch.
Big Koush.
Couch, yeah.
Maybe they mean couch, but they wanted to put a C, but they put a K on accident.
I truly do not know, but I do know their question, and it is: if modern Yu-Gi-Oh was released as it is today, when we're all kids in the 2000s, would you still have become big fans of the game growing up, or would you have just given up and moved on? And then they go on to say, or a simpler version, though they prefer the top one, is, would you play modern Yu-Gi-Oh if you were a kid today? So I think I get what they're asking.
This is... Okay, I'm glad you... Well, I think I get it, but I'm struggling with my answer.
Okay. I'll go first then. So basically they're saying, like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh is, like, released today, which I guess that doesn't really make sense, like, released as it is today, but we'll assume it, so like, releases...
Would there still be an anime or no?
Yeah, Vrains? Like, because there's not really an anime airing right now, is there?
Okay. So, okay, let's assume that, like, the last anime was Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and Yu-Gi-Oh's releasing today.
Yeah.
Okay. So, would I play it?
I think
If
I probably wouldn't. And this is maybe unfair of me to say, but I don't think that Vrains, in the form that it is in now, especially, has kind of that star power that the original kind of Yu-Gi-Oh
Well, wait, you gotta view it as if you're a
thing.
child.
Oh, you know what? You're
Kids,
right.
kids aren't very like picky. I feel like
That's yeah.
if
If it's
I
like
were a kid, I think I'd
futuristic,
like brains.
yeah, that's true. Like it's so weird because like, have you ever heard of the concept of like a sliding door moment
I
where
have absolutely no clue what that means.
it's kind of this whole it's kind of the idea of like the happy accident that's unassuming but ends up making like this huge change in the trajectory of your life. And it can be as simple as like, okay, Alec walked out the door at 7:59, Alec walked out the door at 8:01. That could change whether or not you encountered the love of your life. You know what I mean? Like it could
Right.
technically be
I
down to
gotcha.
that. And I think like for a lot of people, certainly myself included, like Yu-Gi-Oh could have just been like a matter of like, were you watching the TV at the right time, or like were you at the Walmart where you got the starter deck? Like in my case, it was like a Books a Million. Like were you there at the right time? Like all these questions. I think I'd watch
I mean,
Brains if it was on TV, but like also, I don't think Brains is on TV.
well, it was on TV, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Right?
I think.
Like if it made it to TV, then I probably would have saw it because I was a kid. I'd be a kid looking for cartoons,
Yeah.
and then I guess I'd probably be interested in the card games. I'd watch my favorite character Yusaku and use these crazy cards.
Yeah, I guess
Like I
it would
think
work out. Like,
I think it could still work. It feels weird though, because like I remember my path into Yu-Gi-Oh was so deliberate because I was given like a copy of the manga, and so I started reading Shonen Jump, and then the anime came on the TV, and then I got a tape in the mail telling me about the cards, and so like my path into Yu-Gi-Oh was so heavy-handed and deliberate. I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh is marketed the same way, so I think there's many chances that I just would never take the next step into the game.
yeah, like it's a very yeah, it's a tricky one to answer. I think it's also so difficult because like the way that we consume TV now is different, and like the competition of what there is to play is different. Like
Yeah,
there's a very real chance that like I would just be a Lorcana kid or something, because Disney is still put more in front of you than like any Yu-Gi-Oh anime probably would be. Like I'm
true.
assuming I'm a kid who would have watched Frozen and Encanto and like whatever the Disney movies are now. So like perhaps
That's an interesting
if a
point.
Digimon card game, not Digimon, but Disney card game popped up like that's just what I would probably have gravitated towards because it reflects the things that I've seen on TV.
I mean, I wonder if I had even seen any advertising for Lorcana because, like, growing up, Yu-Gi-Oh was my first card game, and I didn't know anything about any other card games outside of like playing cards as a child. Like, Magic didn't exist to me. The Pokemon TCG, okay, I guess that existed, but I didn't know you actually played it. I would just get cards and then like lose them or trash them or something.
I also wonder about like the complexity thing. I'm assuming that's probably intended to be part of the question. Is like, would you play modern Yu-Gi-Oh with how complex it is? Didn't explicitly mention this, but
I mean, I don't think complexity will be a problem. Soft child brains can adapt to things like nothing.
yeah, that's
I
true.
think we probably just accept Yu-Gi-Oh for what it is. Like this, we
Yeah,
wouldn't
this
we
is
wouldn't
we'd
think
learn
Yu-Gi-Oh
it.
needs to be simpler.
Yeah, we'd learn it fresh. Although one thing you could do is look at how many kids are in card shops today, which is few. At least playing Yu-Gi-Oh. That is. I think there's.
At least at the shops I go to, yeah, and we don't have many like kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Some teens following behind like older siblings or sibling or parents and stuff. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
in that way, it's kind of I don't know. I don't know what my answer is. This is a very good question. I don't know if I would play, not play. Would it speak to me?
If
I don't know what like
because
7-year-old
there
Paul would
was,
like.
I'll keep it simple, I guess, because it was Yu-Gi-Oh's marketing that got a lot of us into the game. With the level of marketing that Yu-Gi-Oh has now, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it would have missed my radar. Probably is just. I agree.
There's too many things they did back then that they don't do now.
Yeah, there are not enough like commercials and like the merch isn't everywhere and stuff. So yeah, if we're taking it that way, I don't think I would be playing. Or not that it's bad. It's not like a mark against.
It's
the
like
game.
it's not even a criticism against the game itself. It's a criticism of like where Yu-Gi-Oh is today.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, that's a good answer. I think I probably just wouldn't be exposed to it. If I was exposed to it, then it's like kind of a coin flip. Like I'd probably play, but I think that the likelihood of me being exposed to it is lower. So
Yeah.
in that way, yeah. Okay. Well, that answers the question.
All right, that's a good one, Couch. Couch.
Couture.
Couch. Okay.
All right, this one comes to us from Elena, which, by the way, shout out to more people leaving their names in the.
Even if it's just a handle or like a gamer tag, I think it's cool. We get to know you through your nickname.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the trend of TCG players or CCs, I guess card collectors, who obviously don't play the OCG format, but talk about the OCG format in a very bad way? Quotes such as "the OCG is doomed" or "OCG is crazy," etc.
Okay.
Because they play a format with Max C. That's why that's one of the things people say, and also how they keep pushing the narrative of OCG players hate Max C too, when that's definitely not true. So
I really wish we could stop speaking on things that are not our experiences. And
yes.
then, or using like one testimony to define the whole.
It's funny because like this sounds eerily similar to issues like in kind of the real world, right? Like when people maybe speak for other groups of people or something, even though they haven't really like lived that experience, but it can like help with the narrative. I agree with this. Like I think people who have not actually been to the OCG land, right? They haven't been to Japan or whatever. It's I don't know. Like I just don't understand like what you hope to really prove when you say like like the OCG. Because I've heard people for a while saying that like OCG was like a training wheels format, or like they have Max C, so they're not really playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's an insane take.
Or like there's all these things. Like and I know like there are people listening. They're like, no one said that. No, this has been said. This is stuff that's like. I've seen these things on Twitter. I've seen these things on Reddit. Like, I don't know if it's like the hive mind of Maxi hatred or something. I don't know. But I don't think that the OCG is a place where like it's this monolith of opinions or monolith of game enjoyment.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably like OCG players who love Maxi, and there's probably OCG players that hate Maxi. Kind of like how in the TCG, we have players that love Fiend Smith and players that hate Fiend Smith. Like, just because we all play the same format doesn't make us a monolith. We can all have different ideas and opinions. And also, your opinion, just because you believe your opinion doesn't mean everyone else has to agree with you too. Just because you hate Max C does not mean that the OCG format is horrible because they have Max C at 3. It just means that you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, there's this really weird level of extrapolation that I think people kind of, I guess, mental gymnastics maybe is the term, where people, once they've kind of decided on something, an opinion, so this is like an opinion, right? It is an opinion that Maxi is a bad card or a badly designed card, right? Many people might agree, but that doesn't actually make it a bad card. Does that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, these are opinions. None of this is fact.
None of it is fact. So I think when people kind of convince themselves that Maxi being this toxic, poorly designed, awful card is objective fact, then they can start to make sort of judgment calls on other things surrounding Maxi. Like any format that's played with Maxi isn't worthy of respect, or like isn't a real format or whatever. Like I don't take Master Duel seriously because like the Roach is legal. And it's
Like, that's a shame because we've had TCG formats with Maxi. So
yeah, it's very like. Does that mean that the people who played when Maxi was legal in TCG aren't legitimate players? Does that mean if you topped in a format when it was legal that you're just not like you get what like it's that kind of a thing. And so we've been to Japan once. So we have this small micro window into what like the OCG experience is like.
and I can honestly tell you, I still don't understand.
Yeah, like I don't know, and I can't I can't glean anything from it. Like I've been to Japan more than most people on like Reddit have, I assume, and like
Unless they're Japanese on Reddit.
yeah, and so it's like, well, maybe they. It seems like I got the impression people enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably more in the OCG than they do in the TCG. Could that be because the product design kind of seems to be better, or maybe cater to players more?
Nope, they like it more because of Maxi. That's
Yeah,
the only reason.
card
Maxi
shops, like
is the only. It defines whether or not you like or hate Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, so like I don't know. It just
That's sarcasm, yo.
yeah, like it's. I guess to sum it up, I agree with the premise here. Is I don't think you should like speak on this other Yu-Gi-Oh experience that you haven't actually had. Like it's. And even if you've had it, even if you are like maybe you live in America and then you lived in Japan for some years or something, you might. I mean, you're still only the one person. Like it's
Yeah, one person, one experience.
one person, one experience. This whole like I know all of Yu-Gi-Oh for all people in all cases and exactly what's best. Like no, it's just not.
You know nothing.
It's not true. The more that you think you've got it all figured out, literally the less you've got it figured out. So.
Oof, Elena got a lot out of us in this one.
Yeah, it's rare, but I agree. Okay, so next question is from Slizzard Lizard.
Lizard.
Would you like to see normal monster cards be used as a way to get Yu-Gi-Oh lore about newer archetypes inside the game?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
100,000% yes. Just take one more bad card for each archetype in a set. Just take one bad card out and put in a lore vanilla, and I'll be happy.
Right. So fun fact, you probably maybe vaguely remember this. In like the GX era, basically every major archetype from that era got a vanilla monster. Now at the time, this wasn't really, I guess, for lore's sake exactly, but like Venoms, right? Just a shitty Venom archetype. They got Venom Snake. It was a vanilla. Six Samurai got like Qian's Chancellor or something like that, and that was like a vanilla. Volcanic Rat for Volcanics. Like basically every archetype kind of got like a vanilla monster, and I think that was the period of time where every set would have a vanilla as well. I think we still get like one vanilla per set. I don't know if that's changed. I haven't looked at these recent ones.
I feel like I see a vanilla in most sets nowadays. Though in info, I can't remember what vanilla was in there.
Yeah, I don't think we had one. But either way, I think that was a nice aesthetic. Like I agree with the idea of because here's the thing. It's like you said. There's so much pack filler in these sets anyway, and Yu-Gi-Oh has no alternative formats for a lot of the pack filler to really shine. So screw it. Take out one of the slots.
Give us some story.
Yeah, give some lore, and not like the Mech Knight Avram thing where it's like, check this out. They just ruined that lore.
Oh my god! After having gone through and read through all the the lore of World Chalice, it's actually insane that they did that. That they took an opportunity that could have helped explain more of that world and that story, and replaced it with that little phrase. They should have done that.
And we don't even get we don't get any of the lore stuff that they get in the OCG. Like
we don't get any lore books.
That white
they don't get translated or anything.
Whatever it is, it has like all the branded alternate arts with the like picture book, and we don't get any of that. So like the least we could get is like a vanilla that at least gives you the premise of what the hell is going on with Kashtira and Tier Elements and Rise Heart and all that, or Diabells. Because like even right now, like the white forest archetype or whatever, the Whitewoods. They're like these like young forms with Diabellus and Diabellstar, and like, but you still won't actually know the lore because they're just they're cards with effects, but they don't have any like flavor text to them. So
we kind of just have to glean what we can glean from card artwork,
and then get a
and
translated.
then every so often, like the OCG will post something and someone will translate it for us. We can be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this gets me back almost into that thing where like Konami could at least like, Konami could just release like, a PDF with the lore, put it on the website. I don't know, so people can read something. Like you don't have to commit a lot of money to it, but at least tell us that.
I mean, they might say, well, how does that make us any money?
Yeah, I know.
And we'll say, well, it won't. And then that's it. That's the end of the conversation.
Yeah, because no one's going to buy it. That's true. But anyway, next question. Hey, guys. Alec, thanks to you, I'm getting reacquainted with Digimon, and my kid loves it. So thank you.
Hey,
Sorry, this person
you're
did
welcome.
not leave their name. It's only
You're very welcome.
person who didn't. But my question is, if dual discs or hologram arenas became a thing tomorrow, which format are you using them for first, and why?
Like real life formats?
I assume they mean like real Yu-Gi-Oh formats, I guess.
I'm going to say GOAT format.
GOAT format, okay. What's up? Why?
Because if we have dual discs and holograms, that's cool, but I still won't be able to read my opponent's cards. So I want a format where I kind of just know what all the cards are.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we got like the hologram arenas, kind of like a la Duelist Kingdom, let's say, I would want GOAT format just because like it kind of is, that's the era that I would have remembered from the show. It's like those sorts of monsters being summoned. Simple monsters, simple effects, simple spell and traps.
But if we could graft those dual discs onto bikes, on like motorcycles,
yeah, no, if we get motorcycles,
then I want to play Edison.
Yeah.
I want to play Edison.
100%. All right, like I want to synchro summon on my motorcycle in the most dangerous, life-risking way possible.
They will ban Yu-Gi-Oh in the United States.
Yeah, so yeah, that would be terrifying. And I also, I mean, they're working on that VR thing. So maybe that's like we're close.
Oh yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh VR game, or it was a demo. I would like there to be a game, though. My only issue, and it's actually kind of huge,
okay,
is that no one has figured out how to make VR profitable.
It seems like no one's figured out how to make it cut into the mainstream. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's probably money to be made, but.
Because like VR technology and then VR like applications and games are expensive to make.
Yeah.
But like the install base is so low, and it's hell getting people to try it.
Yeah, like that's because the main problem of like say a Yu-Gi-Oh VR thing would be, okay, you have to find this cross section of people who A, like Yu-Gi-Oh, and B, like VR, and then C, like are willing to purchase B in order to satiate A, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a
They have
lot
to
of
like VR and be able to buy a VR headset.
like a lot of you guys listening, I'm sure, like Yu-Gi-Oh, and you probably like the idea of VR Yu-Gi-Oh. Are you gonna buy a $500 like Meta Quest to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Serious question. Like not
especially if it's a Konami product where you're still expected to have to buy cards on it.
Yeah, like we still don't even know the monetization structure of that. So and that kind of gets away from the question, but I do think that it's just kind of like an important little point to but yeah, if that stuff became like real tomorrow, I would 100% play like a classic kind of retro format first. I could play modern.
I would definitely
on it too,
not try to play modern. That would be a nightmare.
It's kind of funny. I think modern wouldn't even like it'd look cool, but like combos go so fast, like a lot of stuff wouldn't even be on the field for
We
very
don't
long.
even have extra monster zones, so how, like on dual discs, how would we do
they'd have to
that?
adapt that somehow. So it's a good question. Like I would love it if that was real, but I just. Anywho, okay. So last we'll do our weekly recommendations for media. Anything that you have watched, read, seen in this past week or just recently that you would recommend to somebody else?
So this isn't new, but it's new for me.
Yeah.
My recommendation for this week is Bleach: The Thousand Year War.
Okay. That's the anime. It came
I
out
say
like a year-ish ago, or
some time ago,
Okay.
and then there was like another season of it, and I started it, and I recommend it because I've always regarded Bleach for the longest time as like one of the fallen heroes of shonen anime, and
Right.
I felt like its time of being in being in a three with like Naruto and One
and like
Piece
Dragon Ball
and
and all.
or like well I can't even put it in the same category as Dragon Ball, but anyway, Bleach or Ichigo specifically, I did not respect his game. I'd forgotten that he kind of is that dude. He's really like one of them,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
think Bleach does deserve to be in the conversation for like shonen Mount Rushmore.
Oh
And
man. Okay.
if you are if you were a Bleach fan and you fell off of it or you just you never really picked it back up, I highly recommend the Thousand Year War just because it, at least in my opinion, it finally makes good on a lot of the work Type Kubo put into like the Soul Society arc and the actual watchable parts of Bleach, not all the filler that they had to put in.
Yeah.
Like it feels like just the right kind of payoff. I'm only like halfway through. I'm on episode 12, and I think there's 24 currently. And I still think I don't even think it's done. I think it's like gonna be another season after this. I I'm really enjoying it. So that's my recommendation this week.
Okay. So real quick, I'm gonna ask you, what is your anime Mount Rushmore? Or
Oh Jesus!
I know that, but
I shouldn't have said
I gotta
that. I
piss
shouldn't have
off the
said that.
viewers. I gotta piss the viewers off.
Okay, all right.
Okay, actually, sorry.
So-
do you want to do anime Mount Rushmore or Shonen Mount Rushmore?
I'll stick with Shonen.
Okay,
I'll
your
stick with Shonen
Mount
for
Rushmore.
500.
What's on the Shonen Mount
All right.
Rushmore?
So this is not going to sound surprising at all.
Yeah.
All right. So wait, how many heads are on Mount Rushmore?
4.
1, 2.
What? Well, you
Okay,
don't
4.
know.
I mean, offhand, I had to think about it for a second.
Okay.
I didn't know if there was 5 or 4 for a moment there. But okay. So 4 heads. So Goku has to be there. Remember, guys, I'm 31.
Yeah.
So it's Goku, Naruto, Luffy, and he to some degree. Usually, I would say Luffy doesn't count because his show is not over. But you know what? I'm giving it to Luffy.
Sure.
And then my 4th goes to Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, so okay. So not Ichigo from Bleach.
I only don't give it to Ichigo because I find Bleach and Yu Yu Hakusho to be very similar. I think Yu Yu Hakusho will get passed up in many people's lists, so I at least want it to be on mine.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know that Alec is recording this podcast from the nursing home. No. I mean, so this is gonna sound really bad for me, but I have not watched enough Naruto, Dragon Ball, or One Piece or Yu Yu Hakusho to put any of them on my list. I'm a new school, Zoomer anime fan, so my Mount
Okay,
Rushmore
so
is
he's gonna put Deku on it. All right.
yeah. My Mount Rushmore is the one that pisses everybody off. It's Deku, Tanjiro, who is Jujutsu Yuji? Itadori
Oh my gosh.
Yuji. Although I really think it should be like Gojo, not Yuji, because he's more the main character.
You are zooming here.
Yeah, I'm a zoomer. And I'll go with a like predictive hot take. Okay, well, either Shinra Kusakabe for the 4th, because I like Fire Force, or Hibino Kafka from Kaiju number 8. It'd be like one of those two. I know, get mad at me, throw your pitchforks and stuff. I'm just a new school anime head, so that's like the stuff that I've seen.
I like all those shows,
They're not at the Mount
But I'm
Rushmore, and I'm willing to accept it.
but I'm too old to put them on my Mount Rushmore.
no, and I get the. And to be clear, I get the concept, right? The Mount Rushmore is more like who are the OGs, who like the founding.
But it's your
fathers.
personal OGs, right?
Yeah.
You can't put Goku on there if you didn't watch Dragon Ball Z. It just
Right.
doesn't work.
So
So I mean that's fair. It'll be different for like all people.
okay, my media recommendation, so we can wrap this up, is actually a YouTube channel that I think everybody should watch. And it's not like a Yu-Gi-Oh channel.
Oh.
It is CNBC. Now, this is
Oh,
it's just
oh my gosh, we're getting so political so soon.
yeah. This is it's like a really like a business news channel. I'm by the way, to be clear, I'm not like trying to put any politics into this. This has nothing to do with that. It's more about they make YouTube videos, and their videos are just genuinely interesting, like things about how the world is working today. And so it'll like, for instance, here's just the last like 5, 6 videos they've done. How orange juice became more expensive than ever. You know,
Okay.
why monthly home payments are skyrocketing right now. Why Walgreens and CVS are shutting down thousands of stores. And then also why Starbucks is struggling. How the massive power draw of generative AI is overtaxing our grid. Why the US elects so many older politicians. And then one of the interesting ones that I'm actually probably going to watch here in just a little bit is like how China took over Indonesia's nickel industry to fuel its EVs. So
That is so specific.
yeah, it's very specific, but like it's not, if you're one of these people, and I can sympathize with this, who you're not looking for like the political news thing, like Trump said this and like Kamala, like this isn't that. This isn't like culture war stuff. This is just actual, researched and interviewed and like insightful looks at why a certain thing about business right now or the economy or just kind of some industry is working the way that it is. And the videos are about 10 minutes each, so they're not, a huge time sink.
These actually are very interesting, and yeah, you know what? I'm kind of with this. I think I'm gonna add this to my like rotation of channels. Yeah, I pulled it up and said, "Look,
dude, like hit subscribe, like because it's fun whenever you're like doom scrolling or like just you're kind of like burned out from like anime thing, MCU thing to watch, like blah 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 blah." It's nice because
no one's burned out from the MCU anymore.
Yeah,
we got RDJ back.
But it's like, he'll save us. But it's kind of nice to see like just an interesting like, oh, I didn't know this was happening, or like, oh, why is the cost of this going up or whatever. So I watch a lot of their vids. I would certainly recommend them to other people. Give it a look if you got the time. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
And I think that wraps up this episode of
The
Pot of Greed.
Yes, okay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember, you can submit your own questions to the pot by just clicking the link in the comments or description down below. You can always listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, whatnot. And
leave a review.
Yeah, make sure you leave us a review, give a thumbs up. Follow us on Twitter. We do have a Pot of Greed Twitter account. That's also down in the description. We just use it for updates. And
stay tuned for our Patreon.
Yeah, the Patreon is
coming soon.
It is coming soon. We want it to be good. You can leave us suggestions of what you'd like maybe to be a possible reward for the Patreon, but we're working on it.
I'm sorry, guys. Paul only has so many pairs of underwear. They can't go to everybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to buy more. So, cool. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. The Pot of Greed. Pass turn.
Pass turn.